Hi there. Welcome or welcome back if you're new here. Either way, I appreciate you being here. Today is November 27th and it is Thanksgiving Day, and I'm here to talk about what I'm deeply, soul deep grateful for. One thing I'm grateful for is the healing relationship with my ex and with my family members. Um, when my ex and I split, it was very messy. There was a lot of who left whom. But at one point, my ex came home from visiting his father and said, I'm packing up and moving my stuff out tonight. And we only had 7 days left on our lease. We were being evicted uh, on a technicality. Um, so we only had 7 days left to be in that apartment. And I was only 5 months out from my spinal fusion. So I was jobless and disabled and homeless. So he left me physically, regardless of who left who or did what, said what. He left me physically, and he left me physically jobless, homeless, and disabled. And my family not only took his side, but I became persona non grata with all of them. I was unwelcome on the property. I was not to text them. My name was removed from family group chats. And they knew that I was living on the streets and then in a shelter. And it's hard to reconcile when you love someone and you also hate the things they do and the things they say. But I don't know. One day my dad called me up and asked me if I wanted to come to Easter and offered to pick me up. And I was like, yeah, that would be great. And I got with my friends and I was like, is this a trap? And they were like, hey, see how it goes. And I was like, I'm not going to bring shit up. I just want to see how it goes. I'm going to let them determine the course of action. And my stepbrother wouldn't speak to me, couldn't even look at me. But other than that, it was a very peaceful Easter. And it was the beginning of healing a relationship with my dad, my stepmom, my sister, and my brother. And I'm glad I went. And since then, our relationship has been healing more and more. And there's still things that I have to reconcile and have to deal with, because I still feel a lot of anger and a lot of hurt about how things went down and how my family dealt with my divorce. But I also love them. And I know there's only so much time in life. Life is short, you know? So I'm glad we're repairing things, you know? I'm deeply grateful for that. And further to that, I'm really, really grateful for the memories I have of my mom. I miss my mom every single day. She passed away in '06, and I still miss her every single day. We were very close. And so I have some grief around the holidays, but it's not overwhelming. It comes in waves. Sometimes I'll just look at an ornament and start crying, and then the rest of the time I'll be fine. It happens. Are you guys familiar with the ball in the box theory with the button? You should look it up if you're. I'll try to find a link to it and link it below if you're not familiar with the ball in the box with the button. It's a really great explanation of how grief works. So I miss her. And I'm so grateful for the memories I have of her because I find them very comforting. And when I think about her and I think about, like, what would she say in this situation? What would she do? And when I feel her closeness, it makes me feel comforted. And I know for a fact my mom never, ever would have sat by and let her child live on the streets. Even if she was pissed off with them, she wouldn't have. But all I have is memories and photos, but I'm still grateful for them because they do bring me joy, you know. And that's part of what grief is losing the joy. I'm really, really grateful to have my apartment. You know, there's a lot wrong with it. It's in a rough neighborhood. Um, it's got the tiniest kitchenette ever. It's a small apartment, but I love it. I love it. I love being here. I love having a home of my own. And I'm intensely grateful for my Snickers. You know, several of my friends commented on how my mood changed and I seemed so much happier and more bubbly after I adopted Snickers compared to prior to that. And I kept running into, I can't think of the word, obstacles, obstacles when adopting a cat. But Snickers came along and she was the one. You know, she's the kitty for me. She's a lover girl and she loves to cuddle and have treats and, you know, she makes me happy. We walk around, follow each other around, and talk to each other all day. You know, I basically narrate my day to her. So she's she's my best friend in some ways. And I really love her and I'm really, really grateful that it came around that I adopted her specifically and that she adopted me. You know, and I'm really deeply grateful that my disability money came through so I don't have to try to work 20 hours a week and not be able to because my body can't even do that. And try to live on 15 hours a week is just not doable. Even with the food stamps I had at the time, you know, it's not realistic to live on $15 a week. So that's what I'm grateful for. I am healing my relationship with my ex. We are friends now, but I still have a lot of anger at him and a lot of hurt. And you know, we have a whole 18 years between us, a whole past, and in a lot of ways nobody knows me as well as he does. And so sometimes I can find his presence, like if we get together to do something, like he helps me, he picks me up so I can get groceries and don't have to carry all my groceries on the bus. And sometimes I'll help him with an app on his phone or some technical banking issue with the app or something. When we get together and do that, sometimes I find it very comforting, actually, which is kind of twisted. But other times I find him extremely infuriating, and like my blood pressure's rising, and he's like his attitude stresses me out. And I'm like, and I remember all those years of marriage being like that, like so stressed out. But he can be a good man in spite of things he's done in the past. So I'm trying to work on healing that relationship too. You know, that counts in the family and friends category, I guess. So that is what I am so deep grateful for today and usually. And if you enjoyed listening, leave a like, maybe leave a comment if you want. You don't have to. If you made it this far, congratulations. Sorry if this was kind of a downer video. I didn't mean for it to be. It just kind of ended up being that way. But I will be back again later, and I'll check in with a weigh in tomorrow. Thanks for watching.